Guys, welcome. Let's create a budget. Let's get out of debt. Let's build wealth. Back to the channel. We're going to continue on with the step-by-step. At first I wanted to kind of go through this as we were doing each step, but I think it's better to first show you exactly what I built here and kind of how it works. So when you're first setting up your budget or creating, getting your numbers, the first thing you do is you find out your monthly income. So you'll enter a monthly income here, and what it does is it spreads out to every page. So once you have your income set up, then you will come here and you will enter all of your bills. Once you enter all your bills, you can itemize out groceries and gas and entertainment, or you can just leave that out and just put your monthly bills here and then create a budget from what's left over from your cash flow for food, groceries, and miscellaneous entertainment, etc. And then the bank part of it, if you have the cash to put in a bank, you put it in there. If you don't have the cash, then you'll just, after you create your budget, depending on the cash flow that's left after that, you'll create an amount that you want to enter into your bank. This amount that you're entering into your bank ensures that you never run into an issue where you have to stop this flow that we have going. The idea here is one day out of the week. Pick one day out of the week. Be consistent on this. Make sure you do it religiously, basically, and it'll eventually become a habit. And it really does not take that long. But I would block out at least 15 to 20 minutes to make sure that you do this. So let's say you pick Thursday. If Thursday is your day, you'll come in Thursday. You'll go down your list. You'll log into each account. Once you log in, the idea behind this is if it shows that it's due, we pay statements. We pay our bills in a month that we get a statement. If you get a statement, say October 15th, that bill is due November 2nd, we'll pay it on October 15th or whatever day that Thursday falls on. So let's say that it's October 10th is Thursday, October 10th, you come in and your car insurance, you log into your account. It doesn't show that there's any payment due. You're fine. You just move on to the next one. You log in the internet. If it shows due, then you pay it. Once you pay that, you would click here. Yes, that has been paid. On the first of the month, you'll pay your budget. The budget is a second checking account. It's separate from this main account. You don't have to worry about it. Just make sure that $100 is your 0 point. So if you have $99 or less in that account, you're negative and you need to bring it back positive as soon as possible. On the first of the month, when you go to pay your mortgage or rent, you'll click yes, that has been paid, and then you click yes. You transfer your budget amount over to your other checking account. Think of it as a bill, but all you're doing is transferring from that first account to your budget account, whatever you designated as your monthly payment for your budget is. Then you'll, if it's Thursday, if nothing else is due that month. Another thing is, guys, try to make sure, when I say pay it when the statement is due, you either do that, or if you don't want to do that and you want to pay that on November 1st, you need to be consistent. You need to make sure that every bill is paid in the same month, or this isn't going to work right. Plus, if you're paying on a statement, you never have to worry about anything overlapping or any problems. So, general rule of thumb from what I've created here is to pay it as soon as it's due. So you log into each of these, you're just going down the line and you're logging in each of them. If nothing else shows due, then you're done. And you just go about your day every day. You use your budget account for your everyday spending, Starbucks, groceries, gas, everything. You just use that budget account, the debit card from the budget account. Then the next Thursday rolls around, you log in. If it shows that it's available to pay, you just pay it. You just go down the list. Don't forget this part. Understand that this is technically your business. You have to spend some time doing this. Don't forget to click yes. Now, if you have credit cards here and there's a 0 balance due on the card, still check it. Don't erase it. If as long as those are in your possession and you're still open, those accounts are open, make sure you come in here and check it. And then when you check it, if it shows the statement is due and there's a balance of 0 available, then you can click yes. If it doesn't show that the balance is due, like no balance due, even though it's 0, don't click yes on this every month. Still get in the habit of wait until that next Thursday. Once it shows the balance is due, it's gonna say 0 if you don't owe anything, but still make sure that you wait until it actually shows that the balance is due and that balance is 0. You know, you can make sure, because double checking cards for, you know, annual fees, miscellaneous things you could have forgot about. If you paid a card off and you think you have it paid off, but you had a balance due before that, it's going to charge you interest. So make sure you just double check yourself. And the point in all of this is we're trying to set up ourselves and build ourselves up for that line of credit. So hopefully, you know, you already got both your checking accounts started. You talk to the bank. You follow in other videos. I talked about how to talk to, you know, whoever is there that's in charge of the line of credit and ask them how to get there. You can go back and watch those videos if you haven't. And then, you know, if that's all that's due that month, you're fine. You go about your monthly, you go about your next week, you know, using your debit card. Take the credit cards and the debit card for this account and put them away in a safe. Don't keep those with you. I do always keep at least one credit card with me just for emergencies. That's fine. You know, if you have the discipline and you don't plan on using it unless you absolutely have to, or you just want that safe feeling, keep a card with you, but everything else put in a safe. And then you go through every month, and the next Thursday you pay off these bills. So I think you get the idea on that. You basically one day a week go in and pay it. Now on this cash flow page, so on this page, okay, I'll briefly go over how this is calculated. So this first field right here where it tells you to keep your checking account at, this is your monthly expenses plus $50. That $50 is kind of like that reserve in the tank. If you're trying to make it to the gas station or something, you're just praying that you make it. It's just a little tiny $50 buffer. And then on the settings page, so the idea behind this is, you know, Velocity Banking, my idea behind this was for a lot of people who can't get a line of credit. If you can't get a line of credit, then you're going to use your savings account. So your savings account on the main account, let that be your line of credit. So in Velocity Banking, you have a line of credit, say $5,000. You're going to chunk that $5,000 onto debt. At that point, you have 0 available. So think of this, your line of credit is your savings account at the 0 point. Now, you know, there's a lot that goes into this. So, you know, if you want to, you know, if you already have a line of credit, that works fine too. But if you don't have a line of credit, just think of this as your line of credit, and that the fact that you just chunked, use creative imagination, that you just chunked onto debt and you're now transferring back into the line of credit. It works the exact same way. There's no difference except maybe the letter on the account. So this is what this 0 point is now. So this right here is a buffer. This is 1 month's expense plus the $50 plus right here the checking account buffer. So if you know, it's defaulted to 10%. So right here, $3,982. If you wanted that to be a little bit higher, if you feel like you want to be a little bit more safer or more, depending on how conservatives are, I made this as a customization for the type of person you are. So that $3,982, if we change this to 25%, it will then go to $4,518. So, you know, maybe as you get more money and start getting out of debt, you might want to increase it, but that's up to you. It's defaulted at 10%. So at 10%, and then this, what it tells you to keep your checking account, 3982. So as your bills go down, let's say that, you know, you paid this car off $0, it will then adjust to 3597. So it drops that payment down. So this will adjust with anybody. It'll keep you, if you get a new bill, you add it, it's going to make you put more in your checking account to cover that bill. So that's basically what that is. And then the way this works is basically every Friday or every time you get paid. No, it will be Thursday. So whatever day that you picked your day to pay your bills with, the first thing you do, even before you go to your bills, you'll come in here and you'll enter what your checking account says that you have. It doesn't matter before you pay your bills or not. You just come here and enter it. Now understand, until you get your checking account to this required amount, you got to be careful that you don't go negative. You don't just, if you're going down your list here to pay your bills, make sure you have the money in your checking account first. This only works once you have your checking account to this required amount. Once it's at that amount, you never have to worry about going negative or worrying about paying bills or waiting to get paid to pay bills. That's why that part's important. So once you have it to that amount, you come in here, let's say, you enter it before you pay any bills, you enter this amount. So basically this is velocity banking, all of your cash flow, because once you get to this point, that's your zero from now on. So now from this point on, anytime any cash comes into your account, it's going to go straight in line of credit. So let's say that you had your account at this, what it tells you at, and then you get paid. Your income is $4,025. You put the 4,025. Okay, you have the 3,597, and then your income comes into your account. You'll have 7,622.5. So see, it's just like velocity banking. It's coming straight into the account, and then you're transferring that into your line of credit. A lot of people, everybody's different. To me, it's better to have that safety barrier. It's just it's basically living paycheck and paycheck, paying your bills every time you get paid, to already having your bills paid and then getting paid. So this is that part's important. Okay, so once at some point it'll tell you to transfer whatever you have over to your line of credit. So let's just say there's 5,000. It's going to tell you to transfer 1,402.50 to your line of credit. This is, you're building up. So this is the velocity banking part. If you already have a line of credit, then you would transfer the amount over to your line of credit. If you don't have a line of credit and you're using the savings account as your line of credit, that's where this next part right here, how many times would you like to chunk at debt? The thing about velocity banking is, if you have, say, $10,000 line of credit and you chunk that $10,000 and it takes you 8 months to replenish that $10,000 before your next chunk, that can be boring. And that's why I wanted to make this customizable, and not just because everyone is different. Some people don't want to wait 8 months. Just you're waiting, and it gets boring, and it can get a little bit, out of control. So here you basically enter how many times you want to chunk. So what this field is actually doing is it's taking your cash flow and it's allowing you to chunk 4 times. So every 3 months. So you would have to have your cash flow times 3, which is 2,400. So once you get to 2,400 in this account, it's going to tell you to chunk this amount to your next debt. And if you change this customization, let's say you wanted to chunk 2 times a year, it's going to take, so 800, or twice a year would be every 6 months. So 6 times 8 is 48. Did we change it? Let's see. Yeah, so once you get to 4,800, it's going to tell you to chunk. So, if people are looking for recommendations on this, I mean, it depends on your situation and how much debt you're in and how quickly you want to increase your cash flow. So to get in something else here, so now you're looking at this, every time you try to start something, right? Every time you try to get on a path and you're trying to do something good, something arises or some problem comes up. And that's what this emergency field is. But before we even get to that emergency field, if you had a problem and it cost you $1,500 without borrowing from your bank, or if you don't even have the bank yet, you could borrow straight from here. You can reduce this. You could take it out of here, which will reduce this to $3,300 or something like that. And it wouldn't tell you the chunk yet, and then you could take care of that problem and move on. So another thing that people talk about, well, why are you saving this up? You're losing on interest. Well, if you have, if you owe $1,500 and you have $100 in cash flow, instead of if you sent that cash flow straight to the principal, it will knock it down to $1,400. But if you wait 6 months, or let's say you wait 6 months, you chunk 600, right? It's gonna knock it to 900. The difference in interest that you are saved by sending your extra cash flow, and the difference by 6 months later sending a chunk to 6 times the amount, is very little, if at all much. So you're not actually wasting time or money by waiting. And on top of that, you're keeping this savings until it's time to chunk. If you did have a line of credit, you're going to have to park this in the line of credit anyway. So it's just going to be sitting there in the line of credit before your next chunk. So by waiting, you're not wasting time. You're not, you're not losing money. You're not doing any of that. And what happens is if you were sending your cash flow, over and over, and now you have this $1,500 bill, if you already have your checking account, you could take it from here, but that's like a last resort. But if you didn't have your checking account built up, you didn't do these extra steps, you didn't have this line of credit going, now you're going to have to stop all this flow. It's going to push your debt back further and further before you can pay it off, and you're going to end up paying more in interest. I just did this as a safety net. This is the safest way without a problem. So that's how that field works, with the settings page and what that number is for. So the next thing here is, let's say you do have an emergency. So when you first start off on that bills page, you're sending $150 a month to your bank. If you don't have a bank, this is built to work with infinite banking. I know there's some people that don't believe in that. If you don't believe in that, then I guess you could make your savings account your bank, but it makes no sense because you'll be getting 0.01 interest and it's not growing any. So this emergency field, you enter the amount that you want, and the way that this is calculating it is taking your basically what's left over from here. So 3,597. Sorry guys, I'm trying to make this quick. 3,225. So right now it's saying you have this much in your checking account. Your expenses that month is 3,225. If you take that difference, the difference is $372.50. And then it has that buffer, the $50 buffer, that's just another way to make sure you don't mess up so that you can eventually attain your line of credit. So $322. So if this emergency was $321, it's going to tell you just pay for it out of your checking account. What's that it's going to do is it's going to reduce your checking account by $321. You still won't go negative. You'll have enough to pay all of your bills that month and take care of this emergency without going negative. Now what's going to happen is the next time your income comes in here, instead of it all going straight to your line of credit, it's going to reduce this amount and keep it back in here to bring it back to that amount, that required amount again. So and if this emergency is higher and you need to it's going to tell you you're using the bank calculator. So built into this Excel is a bank calculator. You're going to come in here, put it in however much you want, and it says 0 to 36 months. So depending on your cash flow, you can, $325 at 5% is only going to be $27.82 a month. You would then go to bills, you would add bank loan, and then you would put that amount, $28. So, and then you still need to make the $150 payment to your bank, and you need to pay $128. It's going to reduce your cash flow. And then every month you just come in here and you make your payment, $28, and then after 12 months, that $28 is going to pay this loan off, and then you have it again available for you to borrow. So that's how that part works. And that's why the infinite banking combined with this, and it goes so much more powerful. I mean, this right here is an amortized schedule. When you borrow this from your bank, you're borrowing at a simple interest. So you got to just be sure that you're paying attention to this, that you don't overfund your policy. That's why I have this available next, so that you don't overfund your policy. But you see what's happening here is, here, if you didn't have this up and you were borrowing that $1,500, right? You didn't have this $1,500 to pay for this. If you didn't have your checking account required amount and you didn't use the infinite banking, now you're either borrowing or struggling to get this. Now, when this comes up, you handle it with no problem. And on top of that, you're gaining the interest that you're paying back on this loan that you took. So hopefully you guys understand that. If you have questions on this, just leave a comment below and I'll answer your questions as they come along. So that's basically the workings. I kind of gave y'all a behind the scenes, but basically all you're doing is one day a week, that day you pick, you just enter right here what your checking account says. You come in here, enter what your checking account says. If it doesn't tell you to do anything, it's no big deal. Oops. If it doesn't tell you to transfer or do anything, you don't do anything. You just go through your list and you pay your bills. You just go down your list and you pay your bills. If it tells you to transfer something, transfer it to your line of credit or to your savings account. If y'all have more questions on the savings account using it as a line of credit, just again, leave comments below. I can answer those also. And then if something happens, transmission goes out on your car, there's no need to panic or nothing. You just come in here, enter that amount right here. It'll tell you what to do. Hopefully that's why it's so important, guys, to make sure that you're transferring. These two are like the most important. This is like paying yourself before paying anybody else. And this is your emergency fund. This is what you're going to fall back on. So, and one other thing I wanted to say before I stop, this is getting a little long, is, I don't, if you understand leverage, if you want to do like a balance transfer from a credit card or something like that to help get this checking account to the required amount, let's say you got fairly good credit, you never thought about, you got some bills and you never thought about getting a credit card, you can go to like Credit Karma, and at the top it'll say credit cards. Click on that and look for balance transfer cards. It'll tell you your approval odds. If you get a balance transfer card, see if you can transfer that money straight into your account. A lot of credit cards will let you do that nowadays. And you don't have to get confused on this part. Let's say that you just did a balance transfer of $5,000, right? And you have $2,000 in your account. And you're like, what do I do? Do I pay debt? What do I do? All you do is, once that balance transfer enter your account, just if it enters it on Friday, just nothing, don't change anything. On that Thursday, the day that you chose to pay your bills, whether Thursday, Sunday, Monday, you just come in here, and if you got $5,000 from a credit card, you'll just enter your amount first, $7,000. It's going to tell you to transfer $3,371 to your line of credit. You transfer that to your line of credit, and it doesn't tell you to chunk any. But where are we at? We're at 2 2 is, you know, if you want to wait 6 months, I would suggest doing 4 to start with. If you know, you're comfortable with that, you can make it go out longer. But then it's going to tell you to transfer that to debt, and at that point, which we'll get into the next video, is how to pay your bills. So guys, I hope you found value in this video. Sorry it was kind of long. If you found value, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell.